Hello, dear students. I am Samir Velankar. I welcome all of you to this first video on the topic normalization in database. This is going to be a very interesting chapter because design of a good database is all based on normalization theory. If you are good at normalization, only then you can design a very good database. Now, to give you an idea about why we are learning this normalization before we read all the contents written over here, is let's take an idea like this that we have a database. Imagine this bag is a database. Let's say company database. And this database is going to contain several tables. Database is after all collection of tables. Let's say there is EMP table which stores data of employees. Then we have department table, DEPT, which stores data about all the departments. We have customer table and lot of other tables would be there. The first question arises is that why are we creating so many tables? Anyway, we have data of employees, data of department, data of customers. Anyway, all this data is related to company. Then why don't we create only one table which will store data of employee, department and customer, everything together? Why are we creating so many tables? The answer to this question is if you create such tables, the small tables, instead of storing everything in one table, if you create small tables, then you have normalized your database. You have normalized it. And this has huge advantage because you are reducing data redundancy. Redundancy means repetition. If you store everything in one table, then lot of data will be repeated. Secondly, redundancy is removed. That's fine. Secondly, many other problems are removed. We call that problems as anomalies. These anomalies are so serious that if you keep all this data in one table, employee, department and customer, lot of problems will occur later on. So hence, whenever we talk about database, when we think of employees, then store data pertaining to employees in EMP table. Don't mix it with the customer table. Keep the data of customers in separate table. Now to understand it in much better way, let's see an example. I'll just increase the font. Let's see that we are having one table. We have created a table, not very good. Just see this table that I am pointing to now is not too good. Here is it. Here it is. Suppose EMP table has following rows. So table EMP is storing data of employees working in a company, and the attributes, that is column names, are EMP ID, which is unique number given to every employee, then employee name, employee salary, then department number in which he or she works, and department name of the department, which is the name of this department number. Just imagine the rows of this particular table at the moment. I have drawn very few rows, are like there is an employee number 100, employee number 100 named as Samir, salary 60,000 and department number is C100. Let's say this is the department number and the name of this department is CS. Let's say computer science. So we say computer science is CS, like that we have named this department. But you can watch that there is one more person called Arun, who is employee number 102, who is also from the same department C100. So obviously the department name is CS. Now watch, for some time you imagine, although in this example there are only 2 employees from CS department, imagine there are 100 employees from CS department. Then you will have to type, rather very layman language I am using, You will have to type this CS word again and again 100 times in your database. Or rather, you will have to store, isn't it? Store this word CS 100 times in your database. But you know that C100 is nothing but C100 is nothing but CS. Same goes with some other department like admin department, ADM you watch. Usha and Geeta are from admin department and the department number is A100. But then we have to type this word ADM for this department number again and again. What if there were 50 employees from admin department? Then for every row which is from admin, we will have to type this word, isn't it? So you might wonder, what, sir? So what happened? Let us type. But isn't it bad that every time you are typing the details of that department again and again? Just imagine that we have one more detail of the department. For example, location of the department. One more attribute is there, location. Where is this department located? Let's say CS department is located in Mumbai, whereas admin department is located in Delhi. Now the height is A100 is ADM, we know, and ADM is located in Delhi. Then for the next one more row where A100 ADM, we will have to type Delhi, isn't it? This is too much. This is too much. This is data redundancy. This storing the same details for a particular department number is data redundancy. And it is going to take a lot of space. It's going to waste the hard disk space. Just imagine millions of such redundant data stored in the memory is going to eat up memory unnecessarily. That gives us the first intuition behind need for a good database. Otherwise, you can easily open Excel sheet and you can type all the data, whatever comes, in rows and column format. Then why this technique of normalization would be required? It would be required to avoid data redundancy. Isn't it so? Now, not only data redundancy, there are other problems also. Somebody would say, no, sir, let it be. We have enough memory. Okay, fine. I don't have any problem. Somebody would say that we have gigabytes, terabytes of hard disk. So there is no harm in storing this CS multiple times or storing this admin multiple times. I don't have any trouble. But there are other problems that will occur if you do this. The other problems are called anomalies. There's really serious problems. Now, three types of problems which can arise because of this data redundancy is, first one is update anomaly, update problem. Update means modify. We want to modify something. Let's say, as an example sake, that one fine day, our company decides that the name of this computer science department should be now onwards computer science and IT. That's good. Computer science and IT. So, what we will have to do is we will have to update, that is modify, all those rows where department name is CS. Department name is CS. We will have to modify, isn't it? And this modification has to be done at several places. Just imagine there are 100 such employees from CS department, then wherever CS occurs has to be changed to CS and IT. Isn't it so? Well, whenever we want to update something and that updation has to be done at several places, then it's not good. Just take this sentence. If this CS has to be updated to CS and IT at various places, and what if something happens and at one fine row, at some row, CS doesn't get updated to CS and IT. It remains CS at some row, and at other rows it gets updated to CS and IT. You would say, why, sir? How does this happen? Let's say it happens. Anything can happen, isn't it? So if there is another row where the person is from CS, we wanted this to be CS and IT, but this remains CS, and other rows have got updated to CS and IT. then this gives us inconsistent database. On one fine morning, when you see this person is from CS, you say what this department is all about, because we don't have any department called CS anymore, isn't it? That's what is called as update anomaly. Need for updating lot of rows, isn't it? And then missing out some row or multiple rows, and inconsistent update getting done will leave the database in inconsistent state. Now the other anomaly that can arise over here is is let's say the other anomaly is insert anomaly. First one was update anomaly, the other one was insert. This is a very funny situation. Let's say a new employee gets appointed in our company. We have given him or her a number 105. Let's say the employee name is Amar, and let's say we have decided the salary as 68,000. But there is a problem. This new employee has not been assigned any department. Come on, it can happen, isn't it? Company is yet to decide that this person should be in which department. Then, while inserting the row of Amar, we are locked. We don't know what should be the department number and department name, but hello, we have to fill it. Otherwise, how will the row get finished? Then, in the worst case, what you might do, you will insert this person Amar and say department number is null. Null is a special value in database, which means nothing. This is a very funny situation. Many times, some attributes are not allowed to be null. While designing the table, we say that the attribute cannot be null. If that's the constraint put, then we can't even store null over here. And the entire insertion is locked. We can't insert Amar if the department of Amar is not known. Similarly, now this is too funny. You see, this insert anomaly is very funny. Suppose company decides to open a new department, let's say X100, number of this department, and I don't know, some department name, let's say XYZ, some department. Okay, but this is absolutely new department opened, and there is no employee yet appointed in this department. This department is empty right now. Then while inserting a new row, you have to insert the new row. Come on, how will you then store department number and department name? But you don't have any salary, any name, any employee number to store. And then what you will do? You will say null, null, and null. Why you have done this so silly is because you wanted to store information of new department. This is bad, isn't it? So I hope you are understanding update anomaly and insert anomaly. Now the third anomaly is delete. Look what a funny situations are occurring, isn't it? Due to bad design. Now here comes the delete anomaly. Just imagine one fine day, company decides to close the department S100, which is billing department. I don't know why, but they decide to shut down this department. Now, in this entire table, you can watch that only Abdul is working. Only there is single employee in billing department. Well, company has not decided to remove Abdul, very efficient person. Company wants to retain Abdul or recruit Abdul, but company wants to close this department S100. Now, how are we going to delete only this? What you might then do is you can again store null over here. This is so silly, isn't it? At the place of S100, you will show null and null. You can't delete Abdul. You can't delete this entire row saying that I don't want S100. That means I don't want this person also. What nonsense. We are not removing the person. We are removing department. I hope you are understanding all three anomalies. So what I was talking about, I have written it here. I'll just reduce the font again. What I was discussing, I have written here. What are the three anomalies? Is what is update anomaly, what is insert anomaly, and what is delete anomaly. You can easily pause the video and take down the things. Now to overcome these anomalies and redundancy, yeah, I have discussed that too. Redundancy of data. Look, for C100 department, we have to store CS again and again, isn't it? That's bad. Many things are repeated in the database. Now, how do you overcome all these problems? Is that you split the table. See that initially, you had EMP table storing employee ID, employee name, employee salary, department number, department name. But now what you do is you split this table into two tables. Now that is normalization. Coming to definition of normalization, normalization is nothing but splitting a table. Splitting a table into two tables or three tables or n number of tables. A big table is split into smaller tables. Now by split we don't mean horizontal split. What I mean is that if there are many rows, it's not that divide this so that n number of rows go in one table and other rows go in other table. No. By split, what we mean is some of the attributes will remain in one table and some other attributes will be stored in other table. Like you see, this table had 5 attributes, and you saw department name was getting repeated for every department. Then the two tables that we can create is we can store only department number along with employee information in EMP table, whereas we will create a new table department which will contain department number and department name. Here are the two tables. See this? The table shown on the left hand side is EMP table. Previously, this EMP table had department name also. These were the 5 attributes. But now we have removed this department name from EMP table and we have created a new table DEPT, which now contains department number and department name. Now you see there is a CS100 department and the name is CS. That's it. You have to store this information only once in the DEPT table. Similarly, A100 is named as ADM and S100 is known as billing. So come back to the left hand side table. Look, 100, employee number 100 is Samir and he works in C100. But what is the name of this department? What you have to do is you have to peep in the other table and say, oh, where is C100 in this entire table? Oh, yes, I got C100. And what's the name? You get the name also. That means if somebody asks you, give me employee names along with their department names. That means you have to list employee name Samir works in CS. This is the query. Or employee name Usha works in ADM. So you have to list names of the employees along with the department names. Now the problem is name of the employee is in EMP table, but department name is in DEPT table. Now these two informations are in separate tables. Then what you will have to first do is you will have to check what is the department number and then search that department number in the other table. Once you get it, you get the name. So you can then print Samir is from CS department. Similarly for Usha, A100 is the department number. You can then go to the other table and search that department A100 and you get the name. This is called join, isn't it? You will have to join two tables. So actually first you split the tables, but then for answering some query, you have to again join the tables. What a funny situation. This is what is really not understood at the first moment by many students. Sir, you first say that you split the tables, and then later on to answer any question you are again joining the two tables using join. Correct? But we will have to do that because now the data is dispersed in various tables. And why was the data dispersed? To avoid redundancy, to avoid anomalies. Hence, dispersing the data and normalization was important, and after all join is going to help us to answer several questions where the data is distributed in many tables. I hope you have understood the intuition behind normalization, and the example here I have listed. We will have to join the two tables if we want employee names along with their department names. I hope the first intuition lecture behind normalization was very interesting, and I promise that the chapter itself is going to be very, very enlightening. Thank you very much.